Hey guys, Twisted Gypsy here. I've been asked by several of my followers if I could make how-to videos. So since I am in the middle of a project right now and I'm constantly doing this weave over and over and over again, I thought that I would take the time to go ahead and show you guys how to do the tutu weave. It's a very basic weave. I use it in almost all of my jewelry. It's a good starter weave so you can practice your tension without getting too heavily involved in your projects or becoming too hard. What you're going to need to start off with, and as you can see I've got materials here, you're going to need 2 base wires, which are these 2. Depending on what your project is, depends on your length. Right now this is a 10-inch length. I'm not going to show you how to weave the whole thing, but I will show you how to do 12 of them. I will also show you how to start it and how to end it off. This is 18 gauge, which is this spool. I work mostly with copper just because I love the look of copper, and I buy them. This is a 1-pound spool, and I get mine off of eBay. You can get it off of Etsy. It depends. And then you'll also need what I will refer to as a weaving wire. It's this very thin, very thin length of copper, and that is actually 28 gauge copper, and this used to say 28 gauge, but I've had this spool for over a year now, and this is a pound of 28 gauge, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see because of the sunlight, there's a lot of wire on this one, so this one goes a long way. You are also going to need your wire cutters, which I need to get new ones soon. These are starting to wear out. I've had these for a few years. You are also going to need needle nose pliers, and if you go and buy these, you can buy the set actually at Hobby Lobby, Packatans, Joann's, but if you decide to get into your spouse's toolbox, just make sure that the inside of them are smooth. If they are not smooth, then it will mar your wire. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me move this stuff out of the way. And if you hear noise in the background, that's either my dogs or it's my son. He's watching YouTube right now, being a good boy. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And what we're going to do is you're going to pick up one of, I call these are called base wires. If you start watching videos, you'll find a lot of times the weavers call these base wire and weaving wire. Your thin one's your weaving wire, and these are your base wire. So the way you start, or the way I like to start, is you find the end of your weaving wire. Remove the pliers and stuff out of the way. And sorry if I go off of frame. This is like the first video I've ever made, and sorry for my nails. Alright, so whenever you start weaving, you will hear that you need a tail. And the reason you need a tail is it gives you something to hold on to. If you don't have something to hold on to when you're weaving, you'll notice that your wire constantly will spin around your base wire until you actually get your pattern going. So what I like to do is I leave a little bit of space at the end of my base wire and hold on to that. Same with my weaving wire. I leave a little bit of a tail. And to start, you're going to take your weaving wire, you're going to go under your base wire and back over the top of your base wire. And as you can see, it kind of made a loopy. And what I like to do is I take my nails and I push them together and pull just a little bit. And now your wire's connected. Now you're going to do that 2 more times. You're going to wrap around 2 more times. So 1, and then 2. And as you can see, I use my nails to push them together. I don't know if it'll, so you can now see there are 3 loops on there. When I start my tutu pattern, I always start with 3 loops and I end with 3 loops, just because it secures it, and I know that it's not going to unravel over time. So now to continue your pattern, you're going to now pick up your second base wire, and you are going to make sure they're even now. Come on, camera. Focus. There, I'll drop down here. It focuses. Make sure the ends are even. hold them together. You're going to want a little bit of a space between your ends, and as you can see, they kind of like separate, and I like it when they separate because it makes it easier to get your weaving wire through these two, and you'll understand what I mean by that in a minute. So now that you have these two lined up, you're going to take your base wire, and right now it should be coming up and over, or your weaving wire, I'm sorry, it should be coming up and over your two wires. Come on, focus. I'm trying to do this on my phone. Okay, see, it's going up and over for a second. And you're going to bring it back down. And when I do this, I'm guiding the wire, like I'm pressing. I'm not actually pulling on my weaving wire, because if you pull, your tension can become too tight and you won't be able to get your weaving wire back between the two. So we've gone over it once. We're going to do that again. Go up. I'm going to pull it. Right now my setup is weird for my camera because I don't have anything to hold my camera, so it's like I've got boxes on either side of me and you can hear I'm hitting it. So I'm sorry, usually this is a lot more fluid. So you got 1 and 2. So now you've got 2, right? I don't know if you can see that. 1 and 2. Now you're going to wrap twice around the bottom base wire. So you're going to pull it in. Oops, sorry, I went off camera. So that's 1. Do it again. Go around. Push it in with your fingernail. And that's 2, right? So now you've completed 1.5 rotations of a 2-2 weave. So if you go again twice, 1 around both, you're going to go around both of them, 1 and 2. Now you've completed 2 rotations of the 2-2 weave. So we're going to continue this. I'm going to do 12 rotations because that's what I need for my project. And then I will show you how to finish it off. Put it down. Let's continue on. How many do I have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm almost done, okay? 9. Must be 10. Slowly. 11. Almost. My son is very patiently waiting for me to find something on YouTube for him. And this should be 12, so let's count out 12. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now that we have 12, we're going to finish off. So if you noticed after I did the 2 that went around both wires, I went ahead and I did 1 more after. I'm on video. There we go. After. I don't know if you can see that or not. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do 2 more, kind of like at the beginning. So 1. Push with your nail. And 2. Now when you end, it'll be coming, oops, sorry, I was off camera. When you end, it'll be coming through the back. So this one's coming up through the front, this one's coming up through the back. And what I like to do is I like to take my nails and you kind of push the 2 ends together, which makes your, it tightens up your weaving. And if you really, really want to, which with this design that I'm working on, with this project I'm working on, I don't want to smush these down. But if you are making a bracelet and you want it to be more uniform, you want it to be flatter, or if you're making a ring, you would go in and you would actually like smush like this. I'm not actually doing it, I'm just showing you. And it would flatten that out and it makes them more uniform. But because I'm actually making spines, because I'm making spines, I need that texture, I need that 3D look. So to finish this off, it's very simple. You will take your handy dandy wire cutters. You're going to flip this over and you're going to cut as close as possible as you can to where the wire's actually coming out between the 2. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to snip it off, right like that, snip, and then move this out of the way. Now, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little wire sticking up right there. Yep, see it? And if you're working on jewelry, you don't want that sticking up because that will hurt the person wearing the jewelry. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pliers, and I don't know if it'll focus enough for me to do this. You're going to kind of smush it down. You're going to smush it. Smoosh. See how I'm kind of like, when I grab it, I roll it. I roll my pliers. It smushes it down. Since this is an ornament that I'm making, I'm not too concerned with it sticking up. But if you're making jewelry, you definitely want that to lay down, because there's nothing like having a wire constantly poking at you and irritating you, and then you're not going to want to wear the piece of jewelry. And then now you have your tail from the beginning. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to come in here. Focus. You're going to come in here. And you're going to snip that off. Snip, snip, snip. Oh yeah, YouTube, if you hear music in the background, I do not own rights to it. Don't or Facebook, don't get rid of my video. And then you're going to smush, because this one's got it sticking up too. You're going to smush it down like that. And then you're done. Now, for my project, I have to do this 5 more times down the length of my wire. Depending on what you're making, if you want to do like a really simple bangle bracelet, you can do this. You just do it for the whole length of wire, and then you can curl the ends, or I don't know. I don't know. I just had a brain fart. But yeah, so that's it. That's the tutu weave. It looks like this. I know I don't have the best lighting in here. I'm sitting at my kitchen table, and that's all natural light. So hopefully later in 2019 I can start making more of these videos. The next video I'll make, I'll show you guys how to do the 3-3 weave. I'll also show you how to make a coiled. I'll do a video on how to do the coil, and that's basically all I use in my jewelry is the 2-2, the 3-3, and the coil weave. And depending on how you put it all together, it makes really pretty pieces. Alright, well, thanks for hanging out with me for the last 15 minutes. If you made it to the end of this, you are amazing. Amazing. Yay!